The Jia Tan Infiltration. We like to believe the internet is a fortress. We imagine it is guarded by trillion-dollar corporations and armies of security engineers. But the truth is much more fragile. The digital world rests on the shoulders of unpaid volunteers. And in 2024, the entire internet almost collapsed because one of them got tired. His name was Lars Collin. He didn't inherit this responsibility. He built it. Starting around 2005, he was the single developer maintaining a compression tool called XZUtils. It was based on the LZMA algorithm, a way to squeeze massive files into tiny packages. It worked so well that it became a standard. If you use the internet for banking, hospitals, or government servers, you are likely relying on Lars's code. For nearly 20 years, he maintained it alone, for free. By 2021, Lars was exhausted. He was burnt out, suffering from mental health issues, and unable to keep up with the demands of the internet. Then, a user appeared. His name was Jia Tan. He wasn't just helpful, he was perfect. He fixed bugs. He handled emails. He offered to take the burden. But it wasn't just kindness. Forensic analysis later suggested a coordinated campaign. Fake accounts appeared on forums, bullying Lars, complaining that updates were too slow, pressuring him to hand control to the helpful new guy. It was a psychological attack designed to break a single human being. And it worked. Lars gave him the keys. That was the mistake. Jia Tan was a phantom, likely a state-sponsored operative playing the long game. He didn't vandalize the code. He slowly inserted a master key into the SSH login protocol the tool administrators used to access servers remotely. This wasn't a virus. It was total access. It would have allowed the attacker to bypass encryption and execute commands on millions of machines instantly. So, he was weeks away from pushing the update to the entire world. It was already live in the beta versions of major operating systems, and he would have gotten away with it if not for 500 milliseconds. A Microsoft engineer named Andres Frand was doing routine maintenance. He noticed his computer was lagging. Not broken, just slow. Half a second of delay when logging in. Most people would blame the Wi-Fi. Andres didn't. He pulled the thread. He traced the lag, and he found the backdoor. The global update was stopped days before it went live. As soon as the discovery was made, Jia Tan vanished. His account went silent. His digital footprint disappeared. We still don't know who he was. We only know that for 2 years, the most dangerous man on the internet was pretending to be a friend. Cicada 3301. On January 4, 2012, an anonymous user posted an image to 4chan. Nearly blank black text on white. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. No name, no organization, just a signature 3301. Hidden inside the image file was encoded text, a Caesar cipher leading to a URL, which led to another image, another layer of encryption. The puzzle kept going. Within days, solvers cracked multiple layers. Steganography, book codes, classical cryptography. Clues referenced Anglo-Saxon runes. William Blake, prime numbers, the life cycles of cicadas. Then it left the internet. 14 GPS coordinates appeared across 5 countries. The United States, Poland, Australia, South Korea, France. At each location, physical posters with a cicada symbol and a QR code leading deeper. The final website accepted only the first arrivals, then displayed one message. We want the best. Not the followers, the door closed. Cicada returned in January 2013, then January 2014, each round more complex. The third iteration introduced the Liber Primus. 74 pages, written in Anglo-Saxon runes, only 19 have been translated. Philosophical writings about privacy, truth, censorship. The remaining 55 pages have resisted every method of decryption. Rune frequencies show unusually low repetition, designed to resist standard cryptanalysis. Over a decade later, no one can read them. A few alleged winners spoke publicly. Birth. They describe being invited to a private forum of around 20 people, focused on privacy and digital freedom, asked to develop software. Then contact stopped and the forum disappeared. Cicada has been silent since April 2017. No government has claimed it, no corporation, no individual confirmed. Someone built a puzzle spanning 5 countries, posted it on one of the internet's most chaotic pages. Guided strangers through doors most cryptographers couldn't open, then locked the final one from inside. The Liber Primus is still online. 55 pages. Thousands of people, a decade of effort. Still unread. Cicada 30301 found people who could solve what others couldn't. But at least their puzzles were designed to be solved. Some encrypted messages were never meant to be read at all. Kryptos. The CIA has spent decades breaking encrypted communications. There is an encrypted message in their own courtyard that they cannot read, visible from the cafeteria windows. In 1990, the CIA commissioned artists to create a sculpture for the grounds of its headquarters in Langley, Virginia. He called it Kryptos, Greek for hidden. The sculpture is a curved copper screen, shaped like a scroll emerging from stone. Its surface covered with nearly 2,000 characters of encrypted text arranged in 4 distinct sections. Sanborn designed the encryption systems with the help of Ed Schate, a retired CIA cryptographer. The first 3 sections were solved by 1999 through collaborative work between CIA analysts and outside codebreakers. Section 1 used a modified Vigina Cipher, revealing a poetic phrase about intelligence gathering. Section 2 used a similar method, describing something buried underground. Section 3 contained a passage from archaeologist Howard Carter's account of opening King Tutankhamun's tomb. Section 4, K4, consists of 97 characters. It has not been solved. CIA cryptanalysts have worked on it. NSA mathematicians have attempted it. Thousands of amateur codebreakers have applied computational resources to it for over 3 decades. No one has produced a verified solution. In 2010, Sanborn released a clue characters 64 through 69 decrypt to the word bear, Eran. In 2014, he released another characters 70 through 74 decrypt to CROEK. Berlin clock. A possible reference to the Cold War, a specific location, a time-based encryption element. Even with these hints, the remaining characters have not been broken. Sanborn has stated publicly that he will reveal the solution before his death, if no one solves it first. He is now in his late 70s. He has also implied that solving K4 does not end the puzzle, that it points to something physical, something buried on CIA grounds. The sculpture sits in the courtyard, visible to every employee who walks past it. 97 characters, 2 confirmed words, 34 years of effort. The CIA's own puzzle, in the CIA's own backyard. Still unsolved. 3 puzzles. 2 of them built by people who wanted them solved, 1 built by someone who may not have. But encryption isn't always about hiding a message. Sometimes it's about hiding a person. Satoshi Nakamoto. On October 31st, 2008, a 9-page document appeared on a cryptography mailing list. The author used the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The paper described a system for digital currency that required no banks, no governments, no central authority of any kind. It proposed a decentralized ledger, maintained not by institutions, but by mathematics. It was Bitcoin. The writing was precise, technically rigorous, and authored by someone who left no verifiable trace of their real identity. Satoshi communicated with a small group of developers for approximately 2 years. They built the system, answered technical questions with calm, measured responses, and then they disappeared. No farewell tour, no transfer of authority. The account simply went silent. But before they vanished, the mining process left something behind. A forensic signature that Satoshi likely never intended to be readable. In 2013, researcher Sergio Demian Lerner identified what became known as the Satoshi pattern, a subtle anomaly in the early blockchain data. Satoshi's mining software contained a tiny, unique flaw, an incremental counter in the code that deviated slightly from the standard implementation. By analyzing this digital fingerprint, Lerner was able to isolate approximately 22,000 blocks mined by a single entity. Those blocks contain roughly 1.1 million Bitcoin. Those coins have never moved. Not once, not a single transaction. At peak valuation, that wallet exceeded $60 billion. It sits in the blockchain right now, validated by every node on the network, visible to anyone who cares to look, claimed by no one. The burn address hypothesis suggests this was intentional, that Satoshi deliberately destroyed the private keys, a permanent, irreversible removal of access. If that is correct, then the coins are not waiting to be spent. They are mathematically sealed, a monument to the principle that the architect of a decentralized system must never become its king. Satoshi built a treasury worth billions, made it so that not even the creator could open it, and then walked away into the dark. The Bitcoin puzzle painting. In October 2015, an anonymous artist posted a digital image to the internet. The image depicted a surreal landscape dense with visual detail, symbols, patterns, textures, color gradients. Attached was a single claim. Hidden within this image is the private key to a Bitcoin wallet containing 5 BTC. At the time, that was worth approximately $500. At Bitcoin's peak valuation, it exceeded 300 Zalozen. The rules were simple. Find the key, the coins are yours. Thousands of people tried. The image was examined pixel by pixel. Every color value was checked. Steganography tools were used to search for data embedded in the file itself. Spectral analysis was applied to detect patterns invisible to the human eye. Layers of apparent clues surfaced. Numbers hidden in textures, coordinates embedded in color gradients, symbols that appeared to reference classical cryptography. Each discovery led to another layer. Each layer led to nothing. The wallet address was public. Anyone could verify the Bitcoin was there. For years, it sat untouched, proof the puzzle remained unsolved. In 2018, the wallet moved. Someone had found the key. The winner never identified themselves. They transferred the Bitcoin and disappeared. No explanation, no write-up, no description of the method. The puzzle was solved. The solution remains unknown. The artist has never revealed the intended path. The solver has never described theirs. Some believe the answer involved visual steganography, data encoded in the least significant bits of the image pixels. Others believe it required external references, documents or texts that the image pointed to, but did not contain. Others believe the solver found the key through a flaw in the puzzle's construction rather than its intended design. The painting is still online. The wallet is empty. The method has never been documented. Someone looked at the same image that thousands of others examined, saw something no one else saw, and left with a fortune. GhostNet. In March 2009, researchers at the Munk Center for International Studies at the University of Toronto published a report exposing one of the largest cyber espionage networks ever documented. They called it GhostNet. The investigation began when the researchers were asked to examine the computer systems of the Dalai Lama's office in Dharamsala, India. What they found was not limited to a single office. GhostNet had compromised 295 computers across 103 countries. The targets included embassies, foreign ministries, government offices, news organizations, NGOs. The selection was precise. The scope was global. The malware was capable of activating webcams and microphones remotely, turning infected computers into surveillance devices without the knowledge of their users. It copied files, logged keystrokes, monitored all activity. The control servers were traced to China, specifically to Hainan Island, home to Chinese signals intelligence facilities. The Chinese government denied involvement, noting that servers can be routed through any country, that hackers frequently use misdirection, that location of infrastructure is not proof of authorization. The researchers acknowledged this. They documented what the evidence supported: the location of the command servers, the nature of the targets, the capabilities deployed. What they could not document was who gave the orders. GhostNet had operated undetected for at least 2 years. The malware was distributed through spear phishing emails, messages so precisely targeted that they referenced real internal documents from the organizations being attacked. This suggests human intelligence was feeding the operation. Someone with access to internal information, providing context that made the attacks more convincing. The full scope of what was collected has never been disclosed. The researchers mapped only a fraction of the network. They believed it was larger. Some nodes were never identified. The report was published. The malware was catalogued. Some infections were removed. But GhostNet was one operation, one network, discovered because someone thought to look. The ones that have not been discovered are, by definition, unknown. GhostNet was discovered because someone decided to look. But not everything hidden on the internet was put there by governments. Some of it was put there by a single person for reasons no one has ever explained. The Voynich Manuscript. In 1912, a book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich purchased an ancient manuscript from an Italian Jesuit college. The book was unlike anything he had seen. It contained illustrations of plants that don't exist, astronomical diagrams that match no known star charts, naked figures immersed in strange plumbing systems, and page after page of text written in a language that appears nowhere else on Earth. Carbon dating places the manuscript's creation in the early 15th century, somewhere between 1404 and 1438. The vellum is authentic, the ink is period appropriate. This is not a modern forgery. For over a century, cryptographers have tried to crack it. All of them failed. In 2016, researchers fed the manuscript into AI language models. The result was unexpected. The AI confirmed the text has linguistic structure. It's not random gibberish. It follows patterns consistent with actual language, vocabulary distribution, sentence structure, even grammar. But what language? It doesn't match any known alphabet. It doesn't correlate to any existing linguistic family. Some characters appear unique to this manuscript and nothing else in recorded history. The statistical signature suggests it's real, but real in a language nobody speaks and possibly nobody ever spoke. Some believe it's an elaborate hoax. Someone in the 15th century, creating gibberish to look profound, perhaps to con a wealthy buyer. But if it's a hoax, why does it follow linguistic rules that wouldn't be understood for 500 more years? Why would a medieval forger accidentally create statistically valid syntax? Others believe it's a constructed language, a private notation system created by one person for purposes unknown. Medical notes, alchemical recipes, something personal enough to require hiding. The Voynich Manuscript has become one of the internet's longest-running collaborative investigations. Thousands of amateur linguists, cryptographers, and pattern analysts have worked on it through forums, Discord servers, and dedicated websites. The internet gave more people access to the manuscript than the previous 5 centuries combined. It made no difference. The text remains unread. The Voynich Manuscript sits in Yale University's Voynich Rare Book Library. You can view high-resolution scans online. Hundreds of pages, thousands of words, in a language no human being can read. 6 centuries of waiting and still no translator. John Titor. In the year 2000, someone appeared on internet forums claiming to be from 2036. That alone would be easy to dismiss. Except, he said, something he should not have known. The posts began in November 2000 on a forum called the Time Travel Institute, then later spread to Art Bell's bulletin board and other platforms. The poster used the name John Titor. He claimed to be an American soldier sent back in time to 1975 to retrieve a specific computer, an IBM 5100. He said he stopped in the year 2000 for personal reasons, to visit family, to collect photographs that would be lost in a future conflict. Over the following months, Titor posted detailed explanations of how time travel worked. He described a device built around rotating micro-singularities, dual housing units, electron injection manifolds. He posted schematics. Physicists who reviewed the posts noted the theoretical framework was internally consistent, referencing real concepts from general relativity. None of it could be confirmed, but none of it was incoherent. Then there was the IBM 5100. Titor said this computer had capabilities that IBM had never publicly disclosed, that it could translate between legacy programming languages in ways that would be critical for debugging older systems in the future. This turned out to be true. The IBM 5100 contained an undocumented feature, the ability to emulate and debug code across multiple legacy platforms. This capability was known to a small number of IBM engineers at the time of development. It appeared in no public documentation. It was not common knowledge among computer enthusiasts or collectors. A random poster on an internet forum in the year 2000 should not have known this. Titor made other claims. A civil war in the United States a nuclear exchange with Russia in 2015, the collapse of the federal government into smaller regional structures. These events did not occur, at least not in the way he described. Some believe this discredits everything. Others point to Titor's own explanation, that traveling between world lines creates divergence, that his presence here altered the timeline, that his 2036 is not necessarily our 2036. Convenient, perhaps, but the IBM 5100 detail remains unexplained. Titor's post stopped in March 2001. He said he was returning to his own time. In 2009, a lawyer issued a cease and desist letter on behalf of an entity called the John Titor Foundation. The trail ended there. No one has ever been definitively identified as John Titor. No one has explained how a forum user in the year 2000 knew undocumented technical specifications of a computer built 25 years earlier. Either someone with deep institutional knowledge inside IBM constructed an elaborate and pointless fiction, or the explanation is something most people prefer not to consider. A858, the Reddit Cipher. Starting in 2011, a Reddit account began posting. The username was A858DE5F56D9BC9. Every post was a wall of hexadecimal code. No context, no explanation, no interaction with other users. Just code posted repeatedly for years. A community formed around decoding the posts. They called themselves A858 solvers, built custom scripts, applied every cryptographic technique they could find, collaborated across time zones. Occasionally, a post would be successfully decoded. The results were mundane: a date, a famous quote, a reference to a holiday, a simple message. But the vast majority of posts remained uncracked. And then something strange happened. When the community publicly posted their decryption method, the next posts from A858 used a different encryption. When they cracked that, the encryption changed again. It was as if whoever was behind A158 was watching the subreddit dedicated to decoding them and deliberately staying one step ahead. This continued for years. The account once posted what appeared to be GPS coordinates. The community investigated, but the location was unremarkable. The account once posted what appeared to be a memorial to someone. The community couldn't identify who. In 2015, the account suddenly went private. A final message was posted, then silence. The final message has never been decrypted. Some theories suggest A158 was an art project, a commentary on obsession and pattern seeking. Others suggest it was a test of cryptographic methods, someone using the public as an unwitting research team. Others believe it was exactly what it appeared to be, an anonymous communication channel using Reddit as a dead drop, hiding in plain sight among millions of other posts. The subreddit still exists. The community still discusses it. The final message remains unread. Someone posted encrypted messages to Reddit for years, watched the people, trying to decode them, changed the rules whenever they got close, and then locked the door without ever explaining what was inside. Lake City quiet pills. In 2009, a Reddit user called Religion of Peace died. Users who had interacted with him learned through offline channels. Out of curiosity, they looked more closely at his online presence. What they found was not a typical internet footprint. His Reddit profile contained a link to a website, lakesitiquietpills.com. Lake City is a brand of ammunition. Quiet pills is slang for bullets. The website appeared unremarkable. a simple page with minimal content. But behind the visible page was a hidden message board. The messages on that board did not read like casual conversation. They contained coded language, references to operations, dates, locations in conflict zones, what appeared to be payment details, terminology consistent with military or private contractor communications. One word appeared repeatedly: ichthyophagus. It means fish eating. Its purpose in context was unclear, an apparent code for a specific type of operation or target. Researchers cross-referenced the dates and locations in the posts with real-world events. Some of them matched. Incidents in the Middle East, timing that aligned with documented conflicts, geographic specificity that exceeded what coincidence could explain. The Reddit user was eventually identified as a man in his early 60s, well outside the typical demographic of the platform at that time. His background, according to those who investigated, suggested possible military or intelligence connections. The website has since been taken down. The full contents of the hidden message board were never publicly released. The other participants have never been identified. The Reddit account is still visible. The posts are still there. The man behind them is dead. The board he linked to is gone. Some mysteries remain unsolved because evidence is missing. This one feels unsolved because the evidence was removed. Lake City, quiet pills left. Behind a dead man's Reddit account and a website full of communications that were never meant to be found. But sometimes the internet preserves things that go even deeper, things that no forensic technique on Earth can identify. Not because the evidence is hidden, but because the evidence points to nothing that should exist. The most mysterious song on the internet. Sometime in the early 1980s, a teenager in northern Germany held a cassette recorder up to his radio and pressed record. He was taping songs off a late night broadcast on Norddeutscher Rundfunk NDR, the way millions of people did before the internet existed. He captured several tracks and labeled each one on the cassette sleeve. One song he could not identify. It had a dark post-punk sound. Male vocals in English with a slight accent. Synthesizers layered over a driving beat. He wrote down what lyrics he could make out and moved on with his life. Decades later, in 2007, the teenager was middle-aged. He digitized the cassette and uploaded the unknown track to the internet, explaining it had been recorded from NDR sometime between 1982 and 1984, and that despite years of searching, he had never identified the artist. The internet took the problem seriously. Audio researchers began applying techniques from signal archival science, not to the song itself, but to the electromagnetic artifacts surrounding it. The original cassette recording contained a faint background hum, a 10 kHz pilot tone embedded in the FM broadcast signal. By analyzing the characteristics of that tone, researchers identified the specific broadcast grid standards used by West German FM stations in the early 1980s. This narrowed the transmission source to a specific geographical window, ruled out stations outside the NDR network, and confirmed the recording originated within northern Germany. The investigation went further through what musicologists call synthesizer archaeology. The lead synthesizer in the track produced a distinctive timbre. Analysts matched it to a specific preset on the DX7, a digital synthesizer first released in 1983. The patch, known in production circles as Syn Lead, was one of the factory presets that shipped with the instrument. You can listen to the preset yourself. Load the DX7's factory bank, select Syn Lead. The sound is immediately recognizable. It is the sound of a song that someone made, that thousands of people heard, and that the entire internet cannot attribute to a single human being. This placed the recording no earlier than late 1983. Combined with the broadcast data, it created a window of roughly 12 to 18 months during which the song could have been recorded and aired. Despite this level of forensic precision, no one has identified the band. Hundreds of obscure post-punk acts from the era have been contacted. Each one has listened to the track. Each one has confirmed it is not theirs. The production quality is clean. The vocals are confident. This was not a bedroom recording. Someone recorded this song in a professional studio. It reached a broadcast audience of thousands. And then every trace of its origin disappeared, except for one cassette tape in a German teenager's collection, holding a song that forensic analysis can date to within a single year, place within a specific broadcast radius, identify down to the exact synthesizer preset used, but cannot name the people who made it. Webdriver Torso. In 2013, a YouTube channel called Webdriver Torso began uploading videos. Not dozens, not hundreds, but tens of thousands. Each video was exactly 11 seconds long. Each featured a white background with two colored rectangles, one red, one blue. The rectangles changed position and size slightly in each frame, accompanied by electronic beeping tones at various frequencies. The channel uploaded a new video every few minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. By the time it gained attention, there were over 500,000 videos, all nearly identical, all uploaded automatically, all apparently meaningless. People began investigating. They analyzed the frequency patterns in the beeps, examined the RGB values of the rectangles, looked for steganographic data hidden in the color values, mapped the upload timestamps looking for patterns. Some believed it was an encrypted communication channel, a numbers station for the digital age, hiding messages in plain sight among 500,000 decoy videos. And then there were the anomalies. One video among the hundreds of thousands showed the Eiffel Tower. Another contained a rickroll. These broke the pattern completely, two intentional insertions among an ocean of automated rectangles. Why? In 2014, Google claimed responsibility. They said, Webdriver Torso was a test channel used by YouTube engineers to monitor video quality and upload processing across different formats and resolutions. The rectangles and beeps were synthetic test signals designed to be easily analyzed for compression artifacts. Case closed. Except, the explanation didn't account for the Eiffel Tower video. It didn't explain the rickroll. It didn't explain why the test channel was public rather than internal. It didn't explain why the patterns in the beeps appeared to follow non-random sequences. Google's explanation answered the basic question, but left the interesting questions untouched. 500,000 videos uploaded by robots, watched by algorithms, and two deliberate anomalies inserted by someone for some reason. The channel is still there, still uploading, still beeping. And no one has fully explained what it's actually for. Geedis and the Land of Tai. Around 2017, someone posted a photograph of a small enamel pin to Reddit. It showed a creature, green skin, large eyes, a strange expression. Underneath was a name, Geedis. The question was straightforward. What is this from? It was not from a film, not from a television show, not from a video game, not from a book. Geedis did not appear in any known media property. The only evidence it existed was the pin itself. The pin was traced to a likely manufacturing period in the early 1980s. Other pins from the same era were found with the same style, same backing, same factory characteristics. Then someone found a sticker sheet. The Land of Tay. A fantasy world with named characters. Geedis, Tokar, dozens of others. They did not belong to anything. No book, no cartoon, no game, no toy line. No licensing agreement. No media property of any kind has ever been connected to the Land of Tay. Someone created an entire fantasy world, drew the characters, named them, designed a visual identity, printed sticker sheets, and produced nothing else. The Land of Tay appeared and was immediately abandoned. The artist was eventually identified. Sam Petrucci, a Massachusetts-based illustrator who worked on commercial projects in the 1980s. By the time the mystery gained attention, Petrucci had passed away. His family remembered he had done fantasy artwork. They did not remember the details, the plan, the purpose. But there is one detail that remains unresolved: the pins. Petrucci created the sticker sheets. That is documented. But he did not manufacture enamel pins. That was not part of his work. Someone else made the Geedis pin. Who commissioned it, who manufactured it, who distributed it has never been determined. The pin exists. Its creator does not. The internet solved the mystery of Geedis and found a smaller, stranger mystery underneath. An entire fantasy world created and abandoned, and someone, for reasons unknown, made pins for it anyway. Twitch plays Pokémon. On February 12, 2014, an anonymous Australian programmer started a livestream on Twitch. Pokémon Red was running on a Game Boy emulator, but no one was holding a controller. Twitch chat was the controller. Every message typed into the chat, up, down, left, right, A, B, start, was fed directly into the game as input. At its peak, over 100,000 people were sending commands simultaneously. The result was exactly what you would expect. The character walked into walls, opened menus at random, discarded items, wandered in circles. The game appeared unplayable, but it was played. It took 16 days. The collective cleared all 8 gym badges, defeated the Elite Four, completed the game. Not through coordination, through statistics. At any given moment, enough people were pushing productive inputs that the signal outlasted the noise. Not cleanly, not efficiently, but persistently. And somewhere in the chaos, a mythology formed. Players accidentally selected the helix fossil from the inventory over and over, hundreds of times, so it became a deity. People drew art, wrote hymns, created scripture. The Church of the Helix emerged from a menu error. Then, the programmer introduced democracy mode, a system where the majority input would be selected. The community rejected it. They preferred anarchy mode, even when it meant 12 hours of walking in circles. Over 1 million people played one game on one screen, built a religion around a fossil, fought a civil war over input methods. And none of it was planned. He will not divide us. In January of 2017, actor Shia LaBeouf launched an art project called He Will Not Divide Us. The initial concept was simple. A livestream camera outside the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City. People walk up, look into the camera, and repeat the phrase. The idea was to run for 4 years. It lasted about a month before disruptions forced it to shut down. Labayev moved the camera. New location, same disruptions. He moved it again, same result. By March 2017, he stripped the project down to its simplest form. A white flag with the words, "He will not divide us" printed on it. Mounted on a pole, somewhere in the United States, live-streamed against nothing but open sky. No buildings, no signs, no roads, no mountains, no landmarks of any kind. Just a flag, clouds, and the occasional airplane. The location was not disclosed. The internet found it in 37 hours. The methodology was not hacking. It was observation. Investigators started with the only data available, the livestream itself. Birth. They watched the sun move through the frame to estimate latitude based on the angle and timing of daylight. They watched the stars at night and compared patterns to astronomical charts to narrow longitude. Then, they noticed contrails, the white lines left by aircraft crossing the sky. They cross-referenced flight paths using public flight radar data, services that track commercial aviation in real time. Every time a plane crossed the livestream, they matched it to a flight, noted its heading, noted its altitude. The intersection of multiple flight paths pointed to a small region outside Greenville, Tennessee. But a region is not a location. So someone local drove around the area honking a car horn. Other investigators listened to the live stream audio. When the horn sound appeared on the stream, they knew they were close. Within hours, someone reached the site, removed the flag, and replaced it with a red hat and a Peep the Frog shirt. The entire operation, from first analysis to physical capture, took less than 2 days. No classified tools, no inside information, no hacking. Just publicly available data and a level of coordination that demonstrated something important. If something is visible online, even if it's just sky, it's still data, and data can be used to find you. Polybius. In 1981, according to legend, a mysterious arcade cabinet appeared in a few suburbs of Portland, Oregon. The game was called Polybius. It had simple graphics, abstract shapes, and fast, hypnotic gameplay. Players who spent time with it reported strange side effects, headaches, nightmares, memory loss, a sudden violent aversion to video games. Some versions of the story claim that men in black suits would visit the arcades at the end of the week. They didn't open the coin box to collect quarters. They opened the back of the machine to collect data. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the game vanished. No cabinets were preserved. No ROM was archived. So, was any of it real? In 1981, the Portland area did have a documented incident involving video games and illness. A 12-year-old named Brian Morrow became sick after playing Asteroids for over 28 hours straight in a gaming competition. Around the same time, another player in Portland reportedly experienced a seizure while playing Tempest, a game known for its intense visual strobing effects. And in 1981, the FBI did visit arcades in Portland, but not for mind control experiments. They were investigating illegal gambling rings using arcade cabinets as fronts. The most plausible theory is that these real event seizures, FBI raids, mysterious illnesses filtered through the imagination of children and merged into a single narrative. Years later, a man named Stephen Roach came forward on internet forums claiming he had been a programmer for a company called Sinisal. Sken. he said. Polybius was a real prototype, designed to test new graphical interfaces. But it triggered epilepsy, so the company panicked and pulled the units. He provided documents to prove it. Researchers examined them. They found inconsistencies, dates that didn't match, technical specifications that didn't fit 1981 hardware. The investigation remains inconclusive. No original cabinet has ever been found. No definitive creator has been identified. The legend persists because it sits in a space where truth and myth overlap. Something happened in Portland in 1981. But perhaps the monster wasn't the machine. Perhaps the monster was the rumor. This man, the dream. In 2006, a composite sketch of a man's face appeared on a website called thisman.org. Broad forehead, thin lips, heavy eyebrows, receding hairline, a strange, slight smile. The website claimed that thousands of people worldwide were seeing this exact face in their dreams. Reports came in from Los Angeles, Tehran, Beijing, London, all describing the same features, the same expression. Sometimes he was a comforting presence. Sometimes he was an observer. The story spread. News outlets covered it. Forums debated it. The face became iconic. In 2009, the truth emerged. The website was a hoax created by Andrea Natella, an Italian sociologist and marketing strategist. The global dream reports were fabricated. The testimonials were fictional. It was a social experiment. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. After the image went viral, real people began reporting real dreams containing the face. There is a cognitive phenomenon called source amnesia. The brain stores information, but loses the record of where it came from. The face enters your visual memory through a screen, a website, a thumbnail, a tweet. Your brain retains the image, but the context falls away. Later, during REM sleep, your brain pulls stored images to construct dream narratives. And suddenly, the face appears. It does not feel like a memory. It feels like an encounter. A stranger you have never seen before, appearing in your dream uninvited. Except you have seen him. You simply do not remember where. A fabricated face, planted through exposure alone, became a genuine dream experience for thousands of people. Natella created a hoax, but the internet made it real. It raises a quiet question as you drift off. Tonight, how many things do we believe we have experienced that were actually just placed inside our minds by a screen? Phantom social media profiles. In 2019, a data analyst in Chicago discovered a Facebook profile using her name, her photograph, and her biographical details. She had not created it. The profile was not a parody, not a fan account, not an obvious impersonation attempt. It looked exactly like what her profile would look like if she had created it years earlier and then abandoned it. Except she hadn't. She reported the account to Facebook. It was removed. No explanation was provided. She assumed it was a one-time incident, a strange glitch, an identity theft attempt that didn't quite make sense. Then, she found another one, on Instagram. Same name, same photos, same biographical style. This account had followers, it had posts, it had activity dating back 3 years. 3 years of someone, or something, maintaining a profile in her name. With her face, without her knowledge. She was not the only one. Over the following years, similar reports emerged across multiple platforms. People discovering profiles of themselves they did not create. Some used publicly available photos, profile pictures from LinkedIn. images scraped from public posts. But others contained photographs that were not publicly available. Photos from private accounts. Photos shared only in direct messages. In at least one documented case, a photo that the person believed existed only on their own phone. The explanations don't quite fit. Data breach identities are used for fraud. These weren't. AI-generated profile farms are used for influence operations. These showed no activity. Some of the photos came from private accounts or weren't online at all. No one has fully explained what these profiles are for, or who made them, or why they need to look like real people. Would you find only the accounts you created? Or would you find something else? The Wikipedia history rewriter. In theory, Wikipedia is written by everyone. In practice, it has been rewritten by someone. In 2023, researchers at the Stanford Internet Observatory documented a pattern of coordinated editing on Wikipedia that had been active for over a decade. A single anonymous editor, or a coordinated group operating under multiple accounts, had made over 80,000 edits across the platform. The changes were not vandalism. They were not obvious. They were almost invisible. Dates were shifted slightly. Causes of events were reframed. Reliable sources were replaced with less credible ones that supported different conclusions. Well-documented information was removed using justifications that appeared procedurally valid. Each edit was small. The cumulative effect was not. Over years, articles covering historical events, political figures, and scientific controversies had been systematically altered. When investigators traced the IP addresses, some resolved to government buildings. Not one government, several. The edits didn't follow a single ideology. They followed national interests. Articles on territorial disputes were edited to favor one country's historical claims. Articles on military conflicts were altered to minimize civilian casualties on one side. Articles on political figures were edited to remove verified information or insert unsubstantiated claims about opponents. When the accounts were identified and banned, new accounts appeared within weeks. Same techniques, same targets, same subtle alterations. Wikipedia's defense systems are built to catch vandalism. Obvious falsehoods are reverted quickly. But these were not obvious falsehoods. They were procedurally correct, sourced, just sourced to publications that were themselves influenced by the same actors. The question is not whether Wikipedia can be manipulated. The question is how much of what you have already read was altered before you found it. The email from the future. In 2001, a man in Sweden received an email from an address he did not recognize. The email was dated 6 months in the future. The timestamp showed a date that had not yet occurred. The content was short. It warned him not to travel to a specific city on a specific date. It gave no explanation, provided no proof of its origin, and ended with a single sentence. You will understand later. I am sorry, I cannot say more. The man assumed it was a prank, a glitch in the email system, a hoax sent by someone who had manipulated the headers. He ignored it. 6 months later, on the date specified in the email, there was a train accident in the city he had been warned about. He had not been planning to travel there, but a colleague had. The colleague was killed. The man went back to the email. It was still in his inbox. The timestamp still showed a date that, when he first received it, had not yet existed. He tried to trace the sender. The address resolved to nothing. The domain did not exist. It had never been registered. He posted his story on a Swedish forum in 2003. The original post was archived before the forum closed. It has been translated and circulated in discussions of unexplained phenomena ever since. The man provided screenshots, header data, the full text of the email, everything he could document. None of it proves anything. Email headers can be forged, timestamps can be manipulated. The story could be an elaborate construction, designed to create exactly this kind of attention. But the man did not seek attention. He posted once, answered questions briefly, never gave interviews, never wrote a book. He simply shared what had happened, and then went quiet. He said he did not understand it. He said he did not expect anyone to believe him. He said he had spent 2 years trying to find a rational explanation and failed. The email remained in his inbox. He never deleted it. In 2011, someone tracked him down for a follow-up. He confirmed the story. He said he had received no further emails. He said he still did not know who had sent it or how. He had only one additional detail. He had looked at the email many times over the years. The timestamp never changed. The content never changed. But sometime around 2007, he noticed something he had not seen before. At the bottom of the email, in white text on a white background, invisible unless highlighted, was a second message. It said, "This is the only time I am allowed to contact you." He could not explain when it had appeared. He could not explain how he had missed it for 6 years. He could not explain what it meant. He only knew that it was there now, and that someone, at some point, had made sure it was hidden. An email from a date that hadn't happened yet. A warning that couldn't be explained. A hidden message that appeared years later. Whoever sent it knew something. They knew enough to reach across time, or to create the appearance of reaching across time, and deliver a single warning to a stranger. And then they said goodbye. "This is the only time I am allowed to contact you." The man never heard from them again. He never found out who they were. Some messages arrive once, and that is all you get. We have looked at 20 mysteries in this video. Some will eventually be solved. Someone with more patience or better tools will find the key. Some will stay locked forever. The only person who knew the answer is gone. And some aren't waiting to be solved. They are just sitting there, in the architecture of the internet, in the spaces between what is indexed and what is forgotten.